Rod Stewart's story begins in North London, where he was born on January 10, 1945, into a modest working-class family. His father, Robert, was Scottish, and his mother, Elsie, was English. The family didn't have much money, but they had warmth, laughter, and love. Rod was the youngest of 5 children, and from the very beginning he stood out with his cheeky grin and boundless energy. As a boy, Rod loved football more than anything else. He played for hours on the streets and even dreamed of becoming a professional player. His father encouraged him and hoped one day Rod might wear the jersey of a big club. For a while, it seemed possible. Rod even had a short trial with Brentford Football Club. But while football was his first passion, another love began to quietly take over: music. Rod's early influences were American rhythm and blues singers, especially Sam Cooke and Otis Redding. Their soulful voices stirred something inside him. He began singing with friends, picking up the harmonica, and even trying his hand at songwriting. At first, people didn't know what to make of his raspy voice. Some said it was too rough, too unusual to ever succeed. But Rod believed in himself. That scratchy, gravel-like tone would one day become his signature. In the early 1960s, Rod started performing in small pubs and clubs. It wasn't glamorous. He often played to half-empty rooms and struggled to earn enough money. He even busked in train stations with a harmonica case, hoping for coins from strangers. But these tough days taught him resilience. He learned that success never comes easy, and only those who keep pushing forward survive. Rod's big break came when he joined the Jeff Beck Group in 1967. His electrifying stage presence and unique voice began to capture attention. Soon after, he became part of the rock band Faces, where his energy and charisma made him the heart of the group. Fans loved him, not just for his sound but for his style. Spiky hair, flashy clothes, and a playful smile that charmed everyone. By 1971, with the release of Maggie May, Rod Stewart was no longer just another struggling singer. He was a rising star. The boy who once dreamed of playing football was now on his way to becoming one of the most famous rock icons in history. But while the spotlight began to shine, no one could yet see the shadows that would follow him through life. By the early 1970s, Rod Stewart had achieved what every young musician dreams of: fame, fortune, and worldwide recognition. His hit Maggie May turned him into an international star almost overnight. Suddenly, his voice was playing on radios everywhere, and fans from London to Los Angeles were singing along to his songs. His career exploded, and so did his lifestyle. Rod was no longer performing in small clubs. Now he was headlining sold-out arenas and stadiums with tens of thousands of fans screaming his name. His albums topped the charts, and his songs, like You Wear It Well, Tonight's the Night, and Do You Think I'm Sexy, became anthems of the 1970s and 1980s. He was not just a singer, he was a superstar. His distinctive voice, flashy style, and cheeky personality made him one of the most recognizable figures in the music industry. But success came with a heavy cost. The rock and roll lifestyle brought temptations that were impossible to ignore. Endless parties, alcohol, late nights, and constant media attention became part of his daily life. Rod had a reputation as a ladies' man, and women adored him. The tabloids followed every romance, every fling, every rumor. While this made him more famous, it also complicated his personal life. Rod often laughed about his wild lifestyle in interviews, but deep inside, he carried fears and insecurities. Fame gave him everything he thought he wanted, but it also left him wondering if people loved him for who he was, or only for the image he presented on stage. Behind the charm and smiles, there was a man trying to find balance in a world spinning too fast. There was also the pressure of maintaining success. Every album release was a test. Every performance carried the risk of failure. Rod knew that one wrong step could mean losing everything he had built, and there was something he feared even more: losing his voice. Years of constant performing began to strain his vocal cords, and he worried that the very gift that made him famous might one day disappear. To the outside world, Rod Stewart was living a dream life: money, music, and millions of fans. But the truth was more complicated. Success had made him a legend, but it also trapped him in a world where he could never truly rest. Behind the glitter and the lights, Rod was already beginning to feel the hidden cost of being a rock star. Rod Stewart's music career was filled with triumph, but his personal life told a different story. Fame brought him admiration from millions, but it also created a storm of broken relationships, divorces, and family struggles. Rod often joked about his reputation as a ladies' man, but behind the humor, there was real pain. Over the years, Rod married 3 times and had 8 children with different partners. At first glance, this sounded glamorous. Beautiful women, a big family, and the image of a rock star who had it all. But the reality was far more complicated. His marriages ended in divorce, each leaving him with heartbreak, guilt, and a feeling that he had failed in love. Rod admitted that his rock star lifestyle often damaged his relationships. Touring kept him away from home, and the constant attention from fans and the media only added pressure. His charm and playfulness made him irresistible to many, but they also made long-term commitment difficult. Each separation left him with regrets, and even though he moved forward, the emotional scars remain. His children were his greatest joy, but balancing fame and fatherhood was never easy. Some of his kids grew up feeling distant from him, missing the presence of a steady father figure while he was away performing. Rod later confessed that he wished he had been there more often when they were young. As he grew older, he tried to repair those relationships, spending more time with his children and becoming the kind of father he always wanted to be. But lost time could never fully be replaced. Despite the mistakes, Rod's love for his children was undeniable. He often said that his family gave his life meaning beyond fame and fortune. They reminded him that behind the superstar image, he was still just a father, a role more important than any stage he ever stood on. Still, his romantic life was a series of ups and downs. For every moment of passion, there was also heartache. Rod wanted stability, but his life was anything but stable. To the world, he looked like a man who had it all. In truth, he was someone who gave love freely but struggled to keep it. His battles with love and family showed that even the most famous stars can feel loneliness, regret, and the pain of broken promises. For decades, Rod Stewart seemed unstoppable. His energy, his voice, and his stage presence made him appear larger than life. But in the late 1990s, everything changed when Rod received devastating news. He had thyroid cancer. For most people, cancer is a terrifying diagnosis. But for Rod, there was an extra fear attached. The surgery and treatment threatened the very thing that defined his life, his voice. Rod went under the knife, and though doctors successfully removed the cancer, the surgery damaged his vocal cords. For a while, he couldn't sing the way he once did. He described the feeling as if his entire identity had been stripped away. Imagine being one of the world's most beloved singers and suddenly facing the possibility that you may never perform again. That was Rod's nightmare. But Rod Stewart was never one to surrender. With intense vocal therapy and endless hours of practice, he fought his way back. His voice was softer, more delicate than before, but it carried a deeper emotion that connected even more powerfully with his fans. When he returned to the stage, the world admired not just his talent, but his courage. Years later, another battle came. Rod revealed he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Once again, his world turned upside down. The treatments were grueling, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on him and his family. But with determination, medical care, and support from his loved ones, he overcame it. He later used his platform to encourage men around the world to get tested early, hoping his story could save others. Still, these health struggles left their mark. Rod was no longer the unshakable rock star of his youth. He was older, more fragile, and more aware of life's limits. His battles with cancer reminded him, and the world, that even legends are vulnerable. Behind the lights and the music stood a man fighting for his life, holding on to the only thing that had always kept him going, his love for music. These moments of weakness revealed Rod's greatest strength. He showed that survival isn't about avoiding struggles, but about facing them head-on. His health battles changed everything, but they also deepened his connection with his fans, who now saw not just a superstar, but a survivor. Rod Stewart is now in his 80s, and while his name still shines as one of music's greatest legends, his life today is far from the glamorous image fans might imagine. Aging has brought challenges that even fame and fortune cannot protect him from. The man who once ran across stages with boundless energy now struggles with the reality of growing older. His voice, once loud and fiery, has softened with age. He can still sing, but the power is not the same. Touring, which was once his greatest joy, has become exhausting. Long flights, late nights, and the physical demands of performing weigh heavily on him. For a man who lived for the stage, slowing down feels like losing a part of himself. Every concert today is special, but it also reminds him that his time in the spotlight is coming closer to an end. What hurts even more is the loneliness that sometimes surrounds him. Rod has had 3 marriages, but all ended in divorce. Though he found love again later in life, the pain of broken relationships never truly disappears. His children, who mean the world to him, are grown and busy with their own lives. They visit and stay connected, but nothing can replace the feeling of having a full house, the laughter of little ones, and the closeness of family around him every day. Rod often looks back at his past with a mix of pride and regret. He remembers the nights of fame, the lights, the fans, and in the music that carried him to greatness. But he also remembers the mistakes, times when he chose fame over family, or when his lifestyle cost him love and stability. These memories weigh heavily as he grows older, because regrets are harder to escape when the future feels shorter than the past. He once lived like a king of rock and roll. But today, Rod Stewart faces the same struggles all humans face: aging, illness, and the fear of being forgotten. For fans, he will always be the man who gave them unforgettable music. But for Rod, the silence after the applause feels louder with each passing year. The hardest truth is that no matter how legendary you are, time spares no one. And for Rod Stewart, the battle with age and loneliness is one he cannot escape. Rod Stewart's journey has been filled with dazzling highs and heartbreaking lows. Today, his life may carry sadness, but his legacy is something few in history can match. He rose from the streets of North London, a boy who once dreamed of football, and became one of the greatest voices in music. His story is proof that even the most unlikely dreamers can touch the world. Despite his battles with love, health, and aging, Rod has given the world something eternal: his music. Songs like Maggie May, Forever Young, and Sailing are more than hits. They are soundtracks to people's lives. They play at weddings, family gatherings, and moments of both joy and sorrow. His raspy, soulful voice carries emotion that generations have connected with. This is a gift that will outlive him, a gift no illness or heartbreak can ever take away. Rod's life also teaches lessons beyond music. He showed resilience in the face of illness, surviving cancer not once but twice. He showed that even when you lose love, you can still find joy in family and in giving. He showed that aging may weaken the body, but it cannot erase the memories you create or the impact you leave behind. To fans, Rod Stewart will always be more than just a rock star. He is a survivor, a storyteller, and a man who turned his struggles into songs that made millions feel less alone. Even as his days of headlining stadiums fade, his legacy continues to inspire. Younger artists look up to him, and loyal fans still fill theaters to hear his voice one more time. Yes, Rod's life today carries heartbreak. Age has taken his strength, time has taken loved ones, and regrets weigh on his heart. But when the final curtain falls, what will remain is not the sadness. It will be the music, the joy, and the spirit of a man who gave everything he had to the world. Rod Stewart's life reminds us all that even legends are human. They fall, they struggle, and they grow old. But true greatness is measured not by how perfect a life is, but by the mark it leaves behind. And Rod Stewart's mark is eternal. His voice, his songs, and his story will live forever.